Hey guys, Rob Murphy from Holistic Healing Choices here. Now today we're going to do a little bit of EFT tapping around the subject of sadness and grief and being able to just let that go, or even to experience it, to be able to move on from it. So sadness and grief, these are emotions that we most commonly have around the subject of loss or the perception of losing something or someone. So it may be a partner that we break up from, someone who has recently left us on this plane, or even some opportunities or things or memories that we hold on to that we no longer have from change. And the reason that we're sad about that is because of that change. We feel as though we're losing that completely. So one of the main things that we can do to sort of combat this is to remember those things, to keep the memory of those things alive and to experience it. Be happy for what it was and look towards the future while still carrying that memory of what it was, what we did have at that time. Because nothing lasts forever. I mean, we're not going to be here forever. That is the only certainty in life, is that things will change and that, one day we won't be around and there will be people experiencing that sadness and grief because we're no longer around. But we hope for them too that they'll be able to move on from this. And I mean, this too may not even be yours. It may come from generational sort of things coming all the way through. But one thing is for certain, it can be a massive weight on us as well if we're experiencing this. So without further ado, let's get into the tapping. So even though I'm experiencing this sadness and grief, I deeply and completely love, honor and accept myself. Even though I find it hard to let go of this sadness and this grief, I love, honor and accept myself. Even though with all of this sadness and all of this grief, I still love, honor and truly accept myself. And even though I'm experiencing this sadness and this grief, I love myself. Even though I'm experiencing all of this sadness and grief, I know that I can get past this. Even though I feel the weight of this sadness and grief, I know that I can let it go and move through this. And I recognize that I'm only holding on to this sadness and grief because I'm not yet ready to let go of what I did have. And when I am ready, I will be able to experience this sadness and this grief in its full capacity. Because I know too that once I do experience this, I will be able to experience the better things. Because there are times where you just have to experience the bad so you can experience the good. I look forward to letting go of this sadness and this grief. I find it easy and safe to release this sadness and this grief. I know that this sadness and grief is just here to help me mourn, to help me get through this transitional period. And that when I no longer need it, it will disappear and I will be able to experience much more positive emotions. And I allow myself to experience this sadness and this grief, to allow it to come out in any way, shape or form that it needs to, so that I can move on, so that I can move through this. Even if this is not mine, I still would like it gone. This sadness and this grief, once I experience it in its fullest, in that lowest depth, I can experience much higher highs and happiness. And I know this is only part of the grieving process, and that as I move through this, other emotions may come up. Some positive and some negative. And I'm open to experiencing those too. Experiencing those and allowing myself to grow through that experience. And I know that it is just here to help me mourn. And I am ready and willing to mourn through this and to get past this onto what's on the other side. And in a way you can say I'm excited to know that I can actually still feel this sadness and this grief, because it tells me that I am here and that I am ready to move. And I know that nothing lasts forever and that change is inevitable. And so the reason that I'm experiencing this is to be able to allow me that chance to say goodbye. To say goodbye to what it is that I once had. That this grief is here to remind me of. But I choose to look at that event, to those people, with fondness for what we did have. And I know that I safely release any physical pain that is caused by this grief or this sadness. Whether it is that weight that feels like it's holding me down, I release that completely. And I know that once that weight's gone, I can grieve in a way that is much more positive. Much more positive, and that will help me grow. And once I do this, I will become a better version of myself. And I release any fear associated with actually experiencing these emotions. Any fear that's keeping me stuck in this situation. Any fear of what I may be actually feeling, or maybe about to go through with that feeling. I release it completely. And know that I am ready to move through and reach the other side. Reach the other side without ever magnifying any of this sadness or this guilt more than it ever needs to be. Without ever magnifying it any more than it needs to be, but still experiencing to the fullest that I need to be able to move through. Because it is only coming up to come out. I know that I am the master of my emotions and that I can express this in the way that I need to. And I feel great love for myself and the people around me for being able to help me through this. And I know that no matter what happens, that I'm always safeguarded and protected through this. So that dealing with this sadness or this grief, I can move through this and onto something greater. So all of those recognition of the past, I am grateful for it. I am grateful for those memories that I have, that I hold. And while I may be a little bit sad that I have moved on from that, or that something has changed, I look back at those memories that past all the way back to that root cause of this sadness and this grief. And I'm happy. I'm happy that I actually had those experiences. I'm grateful that I actually have something to be sad about. Because I love my life and everything that it's brought me. This sadness and this grief is just a reminder of what it was that I did have. But now, I am completely ready to move on. To move on and have new experiences. I know that things change only to make room for something greater. And in this greater way of being, I choose to be happier. I choose for even more positive experiences. They may be challenging, but it's just an opportunity for me to learn and to grow even more. I love that this is coming to me, for me. And as I look towards the future, I can see that it's so much brighter. So much brighter than it was just a moment ago. And it's changing that sadness and that grief into happiness. Something to look forward to, something to be happy about, something that I am very happy that I have in my life. And it lifts that weight off my chest. And I'm free to experience that sadness and that grief however I need to. Whether that be through tears, whether I need to write something down, whether I need to forgive someone, whatever that case is for me, I know that I am more than capable of doing it and achieving that now. And I just give thanks. Give thanks and have that sense of gratitude for what has been and what will be in the future. So I hope that helps you guys to be able to release some of that sadness and the grief that may have been suppressed, for a very long time. Those things, they're just lessons for us. Now, that too might have been a bad experience for us, or a negative experience, or something that we see as a negative experience for us. But if you're safe enough, I want you to be able to release that and allow your unconscious mind to give you glimpses of what was happening in that time. What made you take on that sadness, that grief around that situation? It may have been even like the loss of innocence or the loss of the way of life that you held on to so dearly. And if it is suppressed, I want you to just allow yourself to be able to tap it out and experience it. Because it can be a thing that, until you allow yourself to really just fully let go and experience it, it may just hang around. Part of the unfortunate truth. So, as you embark on this journey, be gentle with yourself. And use this tapping for when things start to come up. When they start to come up, tap, and if you need to cry, however you're going to experience that. But anyway, guys, I wish you much luck on this journey, and more power to you for going through this. But anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this tapping session. Feel free to continue tapping, adding your own stuff in there for sadness and grief, or any other negative emotion that pops up from starting this. But much luck to you on this, and as always, leave a comment down below if you need more support or something you think I've missed with this, because it's a big one. It's a big one. We all carry some sort of sadness or grief with us, whether it's ours or generational as well. But anyway, guys, I'm Robert Murphy, and I'll see you in the next video.